What questions do you have about leads, like vendors, types of leads? I'm an open book. I can tell you what we're doing that's working well, what we have done that didn't work well. Anybody want to start with a question? Malcolm, go for it.
Yeah, I was curious, what type of lead works best for the company so far?
Yeah, so I split everything up between telesales and face-to-face. So distinctly different business models. So let's address both. If we're selling over the phone, I can't stress enough that you should just get Facebook leads. Forget live transfers, forget TV leads, right, Chris? He hates them. You may have seen the video on Monday. He hates them. Facebook leads are the only lead you should work. Here's why. Number one, and this is the most important, it teaches you the fundamentals of battle. When you have to call people out of the blue and get them interested in buying from you on the first call, for the rest of your life, you're never going to go hungry. If you can pick up the phone and dial somebody who's expressed a vague level of interest and close some of those, that is a skill that's going to take care of you and the people you love the rest of your life, okay? And so that's why, so specifically outbound work, calling Facebook leads, to me, is vital. The other thing, it allows you to control the input. So in sales, we think about the output, we think about making the money, we think about closing the sales, but it originates with what? The activity to get it, right? The best thing that you guys can be oriented towards is not the sales, but the activity to get the sales. When you have inbound leads, which means you're sitting around in your yoga pants and the calls are coming in, right? I don't know if I'm going to get 5 calls, 15 calls, 20 calls. I don't know if the calls are going to be legit or they're drunk, right? And they're just trolling me, right? It happens. But seriously, though, if you're sitting around having to wait on phone calls, you don't get to optimize the thing that optimizes your money, okay? And with many occurrences, TV leads and inbound leads, they can be great, and then they can be totally terrible. They're just up and down. There's no level of being consistent in your activity. So when you take the responsibility of making outbound calls and you work leads that require you to make phone calls, you're not only developing an important skill to make money the rest of your life, but you're now optimizing the inputs. You're now optimizing the activity to get the sales, okay? If you're selling over the phone, because we're talking about that, okay, we all agree Facebook, outbound, best way to do it. Well, how do you execute the strategy? You most likely are either going to buy leads or you're going to have some sort of, you could self-generate them or do something like a hybrid where you have a management program where you pay a company to do it for you. Or you're in our free lead program and we do it for you, right? So these are kind of the variations. So in most cases, if you're doing telesales, you cannot do just one state. There's just not enough people on Facebook at any given time to consistently sustain a flow of leads. So for example, in our broker program, in our free lead program, you have to have 10 states, California, Texas, and Florida included, because the geography and population are high enough to sustain leads at scale, right? So if we're going to do outbound, we all agree that's what we need to do. We have to have enough ability to draw in enough interest and attention to have leads scale high, okay? So with telesales, you're never just going to work your home state, is what I'm trying to say. You're going to have to work at least 10 plus states. And more likely, like with Jay, to get the volume for him, I mean, you're up to what, 40 states now? 45, right. So, and you got to do it, because that's how, when you're at the peak, output, you got to have the geography to support the lead flow, okay? A couple of things I'll say too to add to Facebook leads and why we do them, or why we don't do the other ones. There's TV leads are very expensive. A good vendor, $65, $70, $75 easy per lead. And right, Chris, when you get that call in that lasts 30 seconds and it's a joke, it angers you. It's hard, especially if you're newer to business and you're like, dang, man, that hurt. It's like $75 flushed down the drain. Yeah, and then that's the other thing, especially during Medicare season when Joe Namath needs to come on and scam seniors. So the bid rates go higher very quickly. So, and that's the thing. So there's competition for this limited space on network television. for a fixed amount of attention, right? So that drives prices up. So pricing is an issue, big reason why a lot of agents don't do it. The other issue is that there's sometimes you'll get these people knocking on your door digitally to sell you live transfers, and I get them every day. You know, we can develop all these live transfers. Your agents just have to sit back, take calls, and close. Why not, Dave? That sounds pretty good. Well, what's the problem? Well, here's why. Most of the call center business now is offshore. They're in the Philippines or they're in Pakistan. And guess what rules they don't have to pay attention to? Ours, TCPA, do not call rules. And what they have routinely done is that they call on lists of people that should never be called because they're on the do not call list. And because they're out of federal jurisdiction, guess who gets sued when you call on a lead that was DNC, do not call? You do. The agent gets sued. The guys in Pakistan don't care, right? They're just giving you the leads, right? They're making their money. So with a lot of these call centers, it's just a matter of time before some ambulance chasing litigant files a TCPA $5,000 charge per call that you did against him. And you did nothing wrong. You're just doing your job trying to help these people buying leads from what supposedly is a good vendor. Okay. Lo and behold, now you're in the midst of a lawsuit. I had an agent who got started with us, bought leads on Fiverr. And the first call he made was a professional. That's probably the scam that he runs. He probably puts the ads up and then makes his money. It's all coming together now. Called him, and because he was a corporation, he couldn't negotiate the price or some rule if you're an LLC versus a sole proprietor. And they allegedly had 6 registered calls, and the guy was suing him for 48 grand. That's how he started his business selling insurance, right? Don't be that guy. Don't buy leads from Fiverr, and definitely don't buy inbound leads, okay, because of those reasons. So now we'll do some things like what we do with Jay and a few of our other agents. Preset appointments work great. We're utilizing Facebook. Not a lot of them will preset, but it's nice to have people that kind of expect your calls. I don't know what's the show rate for you, Jay, on those calls? Yeah. Yes, that's really good. I mean, half of the calls showing up, maybe even 40%. Like it's usually 25 to 30% of show up on preset appointments. So, but then out of those, probably half close. Better. Yeah. So the ones that preset over the phone to sell over the phone based off Facebook leads are really good when you get them on the phone. Okay, half or better, depending on your skill set. So we're cool with that. We do like that. Most of the time, the scale of leads that y'all are getting are not going to be high enough to allow for only appointment set. You're still going to have to do outbound calls. It's rare that you see a business model where you can get 80 presets, 40 show up, and then you close 25 to 30. Okay. We kind of do that a little bit. How many appointments do you get a week now, Jay?
Probably like 90 to 100.
Yeah, so we can do it. Yeah. So, but if you're not working with us, wink, wink, nod, nod. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
I'll call the circuit. All of that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So you're still doing outbound and almost 100 appointments a week. So, yeah, exactly. Cool. Questions so far? We'll have Jay up here to kind of talk more about that. Alyssa up here, Jimmy, and then Malcolm, and then Kurt, I think, right? Jimmy. That's not Jimmy.
Price point for Facebook leads. Does that have a price point?
Well, I use pretty good, but I think your price point, and if you're creating your own, like your own system, like how Julian and all of them do, I think you need to stay around like 8 to 15 to be profitable from what I looked into it. Because when I first joined Dave, he didn't have the career program, so I was going to do the brokerage. So I looked into all this stuff to make sure, my P's and Q's were in order, then got God's grace, he started to tell the leads the career program. But from what I've seen, you need to stay around that $8 to $15 mark, and less is ideal, but to be profitable.
Malcolm?
How do you utilize YouTube, or how do you utilize?
For lead gen? We don't.
Okay, just for agents, not for.
Oh yeah, for recruit all day long off of YouTube. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But for clients, I mean, I've got a little YouTube channel. You guys can check it out. It's called Fixed. What is it, Chris?
Well, which channel?
The one that we get the call-ins on the bat phone. What is it? Fixed income help. I don't know.
But it's
Yeah, so I've really neglected it because it's not. Yeah, you've noticed. Chris gets those leads. That's why I said. In my experience using YouTube, there's not a lot of people who actively in our market go on to research. The ones that do are good. They're good leads. But like versus Medicare, like if you've done any research on Medicare online, there's like Christopher Westfall, there's benefits, Boomer Benefits, there's a lot of others that they built their whole business, and we're talking 8-figure business models off of just organic YouTube informational videos. Medicare is confusing to everybody. People don't know what it's about, or clients at least, and they go on YouTube to look for answers. So for some reason, that obviously makes sense why they do that. But for final expense, I've never had the same level of interest, and so I don't do much with it to use for YouTube. Now, there is a place to do maybe social media on your Facebook page, people that you know. Thomas Dixon, who's worked for me for years, has done that. He writes 6 figures, and a lot of it is a referral business from his Facebook page. He just puts up helpful videos and posts, and you get stuff from it. So, questions, Kurt? You sure, Kurt? Okay.
One stop where you can go and contract with different states.
NIPR.com. You first got to get the licenses, and you buy the non-resident licenses there. This assumes you have your home resident license. If you don't know how to do that, you or anybody out there, just Google search it, how to get my license in the state of Tennessee for life insurance. And then you'll get the directions. And then for any additional licenses you want, go to NIPR.com, click non-resident purchases. You just have to give the government their money. That's all they're ever after, typically. When it comes to licensing, you don't have to take another test. You might have to give fingerprints or do something like that. But that's it. Just give them your money. That's what they want. Okay, Malcolm?
I'm still faster than Dave.
Yeah, thank you.
Now what about these new SEC ruling, the sky's falling in the leads?
Yeah.
Comment on that real quick.
Yeah. So we're looking at, I'm going to meet with a lawyer hopefully next week to give us some guidance on what to expect. There, like all new rulings, there's kind of some concerns. Let me lay it out for you guys, the main stuff of what this is. So beginning of next year, and this is really a good thing. I mean, this is great. If you think about the user experience, we use that in software, the client experience, selling anything. Your phone has a terrible user experience. It blows up all the time. People trying to sell you stuff. We got to put spam likely, displays on it. It just sucks to have a phone. It's no fun anymore like it used to be, right? So what the government realized, and this is, I think, a good law, is that what a lot of lead vendors do is they'll buy what's called data that was generated for something other entirely. And then because there's some legalese wrapped up in it, they're allowed to prospect those leads, which is really just names in a phone book, for other products. Okay. There's a company that begins with and ends with an. I'll let you fill in the blanks. They'll cease and desist me if you say the middle words. So please don't say anything serious. They would do this. They would buy data for pennies on the dollar and then resell it as for like 10 or 11 bucks. That was their scam. And they impress upon everybody, you got to buy leads, which is true. But you as a new agent would trust this company, buy these leads, and you talk to them and they had no clue what it was about. You've dropped a couple grand with trying to live the dream and build a business, and you've just been taken. And so this scam this kind of reselling of data around, that they turned it into a money-making scam, is going to be illegal. And so there's now what's going to be required one-to-one, forget the term, one-to-one verification. So anytime a person requests a lead, it is just for that vendor. It's just for that company. It can't be for that company plus infinity others if it's resold. That was the problem. And this is great because what it's ultimately going to do is cut down on, hopefully, the amount of calls that people get, the amount of spam that people get for stuff that people never requested. And the goal is hopefully to, when people do pick up the phone, it's about something they actually did request, that they actually have an interest in. So it's not really going to affect. So how does this affect you? If you're buying leads, legitimate leads, like from our Facebook vendors that we recommend, or you're in our free lead program or our alpha lead program that we do, you don't have anything to worry about. All that is just an extra step on the lead generation process to confirm that it is us that they want to request information from. And that is already in there. If it's not, it's going to be. It's the crap lead companies that have to worry about it. Incidentally, they just dropped their commissions 20%. So I wonder why. So anyways. Yeah, I think you've got basically till the end of the year to get it right.
The leads that are gonna be coming in, do you have a time limit on?
I don't know. We go by 90 days that we reach a lead, and that's why we're meeting with the attorneys and clarifying that, because I think at some point, like, what if you have a lead for 10 years? Can you still dial on it 5-10 times a day? Probably not, yeah. So yeah, we'll figure it out.
Cool.
Okay, any questions on TCPA, FCC rulings, any clarifications there? Telesales leads, I'm gonna go over there.
Oh, yeah, the direct mail leads also.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So let me make sure I'm done with telesales. So just do Facebook leads, check. Don't do inbound leads, check. Oh, don't do direct mail and sell over the phone. Direct mail is expensive, and phone sales have less of a close rate than in person. And then also people who do direct mail sometimes don't include their phone number. Scratch off about 25% of the leads, so your actual cost is really high, and you might as well have just done Facebook leads. Now, where direct mail is good is when you do sell face-to-face, because you have something that they physically completed versus just typed out on their phone and then kept scrolling. So there's a better recall rate. They remember filling it out more often. When you show it to them at the door, if you door knock them, it's hard to deny that they actually filled the thing out. So you get into more doors. And I think the intent, meaning the interest to buy, tends to be higher, because these people have been getting this junk mail for years. And the fact that they filled it out now, after years of getting it and tossing it, means something has happened. And so they're a high quality lead. The only problem with direct mail in certain states like Texas is that the response rates are really low. You may want to open that for that. The response rates are super low, and the price rates are high. I don't even know if you can get a good lead that's fresh and exclusive in Texas for under $50 a lead. So it's tough. Now, if you're in Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, like oddball states most of us aren't in, the response rates are better. But like where I live in Chattanooga, I mean, if I get a 1% response rate and I'm averaging $55-60 a lead, amen. But not really, because that's a lot of money, So yeah, direct mail has changed. I mean, it's postage rates have gone up. The competition in the business has increased. And I mean, 10 years ago, it was $23 a lead that said life insurance on it. It was nice. Not now, though. Double, triple.
And a lot of it's incentivized now, correct?
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the different kinds of direct mail. This is kind of where it gets funny. So did you work the check leads?
No,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if you're going to do direct mail, understand there's different kinds of direct mail. You have leads that don't say anything about life insurance. They insinuate it. You may qualify for a state-regulated final expense program. People are going to look at that and be like, Uncle Sam life insurance, sign me up. It's free, right? But the thing is, they'll still buy if you know how to get in the door and this is stuff that you're trained on. But that increases response rates, but it also increases confusion because they don't really know what they're sending back. You can say life insurance on the card, that helps clarify it, but what happens with response rates, it goes down because you kind of let the cat out of the bag. Oh, it's life insurance. I've had this forever with this. Right? The other way is you can bribe them. And guys at home, bribe is figurative here. We're not bribing them. So we're offering money to send this back or some value back. So the most common is the Walmart gift card. Send this back and get a free gift card to Walmart. Whatever. That helps boost response rates. But guess what people want? The gift card, right? And if you don't know how to work the gift card angle, hard to get in the door. The other one, which I all leads work, but these leads sucked, and I would never recommend anybody work these. Called check leads. They've been around forever, and they are what they sound like. You've received the check. Sign your name for $10 and deposit it, and we'll get this back and then talk to you about life insurance. The worst leads we've ever worked. Ask Joe Boosh about it. He hates them. Yeah, they're terrible. Please don't work check leads. We tried. They're terrible. So otherwise, if you're working face to face, Facebook leads are great. I like ttcleads.com. I like happy agents leads.com. Both very good. Happy Agent is higher price, but they tend to be pretty high quality. ttcleads.com are pretty good too, and they're going to be in the $20 to $40 range. So most of us that are doing face-to-face still are going to rely on those, I think, as kind of the primary options.